Hey everyone, it's John here. In this video I'm going to show you how to string your guitar. I'm just going to do one string because they're all going to be the same, so this won't take too long. But this is something a lot of people have questions about, and this way that I'm going to show you has worked really well for me. It allows me to keep the guitar in tune. Like this guitar in particular has a whammy bar, but it still stays in tune really well without a locking nut, which I was able to take off years ago because as long as you lock the strings onto the tuning posts like I'm going to show you here, the guitar tends to stay in tune well. Assuming other things on your guitar are set up right, it's not binding at the nut and so on. So first thing I should point out is the direction of the strings and how they come off the tuning posts. And the key here is you want to make sure that they come off in the direction that's toward the center of the headstock. So this one is coming off on this side, same as this. Because this is a really long headstock, this particular one, these three I actually come off on the opposite side. So they're coming off on sort of the left side of the tuning post. So I tune these three strings in one direction and these three in another. But that's just because of this particular headstock on this guitar. If I was to have them all the same direction, if you look at this E string, for example, if this was coming off of the outside, then the angle between here and here would be even more steep than it already is. And you want the angle between the nut slot and the tuning post to be as straight as possible. So always make sure you pay attention to the direction that the string winds onto the post. All right, so the first thing you do is attach the string down at the bridge, which I'm not showing here in this video, but you can figure that part out. And then turn this knob here so that the hole that the string is going to go through is in line with the neck. So I can see through here, there's the hole. And that's because I want to put the string through and have it be pretty straight, like that. Okay. Now, this next part is probably the trickiest part of the whole thing. And that's because you have to just kind of figure it out by trial and error. And that's trying to figure out how much scope to give it. In other words, how much slack do you want on the string? If you do it too tight like this, you just start winding right now, you're not really going to have enough to wrap around the string. To wrap around the post. And if you do it too loose, you wind up like wrapping it so much that your string might even pop off the post. So what I usually do is I pull it sort of taut, and then I lift it up some amount from the fretboard, a few inches. The amount that you do is really going to depend on your guitar, which of the strings you're doing, because obviously this is much closer than this one. Also, thicker strings are going to be slightly different than the thinner strings. So this is my guess right now for this guitar. I haven't strung this guitar in a long time, so hopefully I'm close. But as long as you kind of start with it straight and then add some amount of scope, you're probably not going to go too far off. All right, so that's the first thing. The next thing I want to point out is kind of like a key technique here. So once you have it where you think it's going to be, take this part with your right hand or whatever hand, and then if I'm going to be, as I mentioned, I'm going to be tightening it in a counterclockwise direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this free end here and go clockwise first. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction and go underneath the string like this. Oops. It's getting caught on the other one. Okay, so you see that? And I'm holding this part in my right hand so it doesn't move. And I want to come in here and cinch it and then go back the other direction like this. See that? That's kind of like the key little twist there, because now that's going to be locked onto the post as I tighten it. So if you do that, you'll be in good shape. So now the next thing is you want to start winding it. And as you wind it, you would like to make sure that it crosses over itself at least once. So what that means is I'm applying pressure. I'm kind of pulling back on the string with my right hand as I tighten with my left hand so that there's no slack in here and so that it wraps on there neatly. Right now I'm looking at it and I'm going over this part that's already on the tuning post. I'm going over the top this first time around. And then I'm going to start going along the bottom and then wind down from there on. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully I can zoom in enough with my camera. But you basically, the point is you want to wrap the string over itself at least one time. And that's going to lock it to the post and really make it stable. All right. Some people use those winders, which you can use if you want. I don't find them to be all that helpful, but all right. So once you get it close, then you want to start tuning it up to pitch. Yeah, just get it close. That's good enough. I'm going to stretch it a little bit just to give it an initial stretch. It's going to drop and pitch a lot. Pull it up again. All right, so we're in the ballpark. So the last thing you want to do is cut off this end. And so to do that, come up about a ½ an inch and use your needle nose pliers here. And also you want to make sure you have a wire cutter. And cut it. And then take this end that sticks out and with the very tip, grab the very tip of the string and fold it over, like bend it like that. And now it's not going to poke you or anything. You can put your hand on there because it's really painful, especially with these small strings. If you leave a sharp one out, and you kind of sucks if you get it right on your finger and then you can't play sometimes. So don't let that happen to you. Anyway, that's it. Follow that same technique for all the other strings. Just pay attention to the direction that the string is winding onto the post, and you should be all set.